Yo, what's going on, everyone? We're back at it with another PrizePicks video. We're going to go ahead and give you a play for tonight's college football games. Some of the two props that I really like. So let's get to it. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and talk about yesterday's plays. They did not end up cashing. It was very unfortunate the way the game was playing out. I mean, it looked like it was going to be a good high-scoring game. Well, it was a high-scoring game, but for the Bills. Not so much for the Dolphins, right? And of course, Tua's concussion yesterday was pretty nasty, pretty bad. Not trying to make light of the situation, but it's very ironic that he got concussed by what's his name, man? By Damar Hamlin. Like that is just that's pretty wild. It's very ironic, right? But like I said, we're not trying to make light of the situation. It was pretty bad what happened. So essentially, if you're interested in what happens during a concussion, let's say, so we have my head here, right? So whenever there's the brain is in here, or my brain should be in here, and whenever there's a force to the head, the brain rattles back and forth, right? Back and forth. This is called the coup and counter coup, trauma or injury, whatever you want to call it, right? Technically, this is a traumatic brain injury, right? And of course, the fact that he's had multiple, makes this even worse. So essentially what happens is, when the brain hits, right, the front of the skull, then there's an injury because the brain is just all soft tissue. It's fats, right? So when it hits, it immediately just makes the brain go haywire. It just rattles the brain, and it makes all these neurons in your brain just freak out and just starts releasing things like this potassium, calcium, sodium, right? So it starts releasing all that. And once it releases all that potassium, calcium, and sodium, so we got the neuron here, right? And it has a tail end. And the tail end, so at the head, that's where all these potassium, sodium, calcium start releasing. And at the tail end, the brain starts releasing glutamate, right? Or these neurons start releasing glutamate. And with that release of glutamate, that's when if you notice when Tua fell to the floor, he started doing this fencing response where like the hand starts kind of bending forward, your wrists are just uncontrollably flexing. That's called a fencing response. And of course, he fell to the ground. But those are all signs of a pretty bad concussion, right? And like I said, like the fact that this was his third concussion, I think, man, sucks to say, but for his own well-being, it might be time for him to kind of just hang it up and just call it a career, man. I mean, it's just not. We all love football, right? Football's amazing. I'm sure as a player, it's hard for him to get off that field. But for his own well-being, for the sake of bad CTE in the future, right, I think he should just hang it up, call it quits, and just enjoy time with his family, build business or something, man. Find something that he loves with the money that he's already made and just enjoy his life. It's just not worth it, man. Football's great, but it's just not worth it. So that's the thing. That's what happened with Tua. He got concussed. And it was a pretty bad concussion, right? And of course, you can see his head kind of just like went to the side. And yeah, man. But yeah, so that play, so going back to the plays didn't cash, but it's all right. We're gonna go ahead and give y'all a 2-man play right now, just to go ahead and try to get back some units before we get ready for Saturday, right? So that was one of the plays, right? And then we got some see right here, this one went all under, which is horrible, man. The reason being is, of course, because Tua was just kind of turning the ball over 2 times, 2 turnovers, and then a turnover on down, which doesn't count as a turnover on the quarterback. Should it? Actually, no. It's more of a team turnover, right? But 3 turnovers back to back that all got converted into points, right? I believe they were all actually touchdowns. James Cook had himself a day. But yeah, man, that's essentially what happened. I mean, it was horrible. And then Keon Coleman was non-existent out there. Like, how do you go from and again, James Cook was having the best game of his life. So they didn't really need to throw too much, versus when they played against the Cardinals, they were down by 2 touchdowns. meaning they were just consistently having to throw, right? And that was not the case yesterday. they were able to run the ball, establish the run. That crazy part is that the Miami Dolphins were running the ball like if they were winning the game. And I understand why you're running the ball because it was working. Achan had himself a day, right? And of course, Tua was turning the ball over. So it's just mind. And then the clock management near the end, man. Like you have 2 minutes, right? And this is the drive that Tua got concussed. You have 2 minutes into the left in the game in the fourth quarter, and you just keep running the ball. You have 3 timeouts. And you just let that clock run out. And then I remember they're at the 44-second mark with still 3 timeouts. And I was like, what are they doing? I was like, and then they call a timeout at the 32-second mark or something like that. That is insane. So they pretty much just left them with 33 seconds and 3 timeouts. And then, could we say that concussion that happened to Tua, obviously it was a free concussion, but can that concussion happen to Tua happen kind of because of that horrible coaching and play calling that happened near the end? I mean, Tua was forced to try to make something out of nothing right there, and just because he has 0 time versus if you were to use your timeouts wisely, give him some more time. And, I'm not an NFL coach and I've never been any type of coach, but I don't know, Mike McDaniel McDaniel, I mean, He's a professional. I guess he knows what he's doing, but that just seemed ridiculous to me. I'm not putting the blame on the coach. Right? Don't think that. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. My thoughts are out here in the internet. So we're gonna go give y'all the play for today, man. We're gonna go ahead and take Tua McMillan to get over 97.5 receiving yards, man. Going up against Kansas State. This should be a hellfire of a game. Like I mentioned in one of the videos earlier. I mean, Arizona is +7 underdogs. I think they're like +2 something. So that means they're expected to be down by at least a touchdown at some point. But I don't see that being the case. I see them actually this being a pretty close game. So we're gonna go ahead and take Tua McMillan over 97.5 receiving yards, and we're gonna go ahead and combine that with a rushing quarterback, right? Matthew Sluka over 57.5 rush yards. I've honestly seen this line all the way up to 63.5 rushing yards. So definitely, I like it at over, not on PrizePicks, but I like it over 57.5 rush yards just because, Kansas does design, UNLV does design literally quarterback runs, right? That's part of the game. That's what they do. They design quarterback runs. So definitely, I'll be looking to go ahead and cash in this to Tua McMillan and Matthew Sluka over receiving yards and over rushing yards. And yeah, man, that's one play that I like. Go ahead, lock it in. Let's get to it, man. Best of luck to Tua and his family, and best of luck to us, man. I mean, it's Friday the 13th, but best of luck to us. Let's go ahead. Let's get this win. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and lock in $50 to win $150 on that one. McMillan over receiving yards, Sluka over rushing yards. Go ahead, lock it in. No correlation on that. It just plays. What? PrizePicks is unavailable in my location. That is weird. Anyways, lock that in. I don't have time to figure that out right now. Go ahead, lock that in, man. And if you haven't got on the VIP, $30 Saturday pass is up. It'll give you all my Friday and college football VIP plays. All right, everyone, take care. Have a great day, and I'll see you on. We're a little bit richer.